Crashing Things, the movie. First of all, if you're a really tall person going to see a movie, please sit in the back row. I was staring at this the entire film. Hey, you see what I mean? Spent the whole movie like this. Anyway, I'm Ryan, your host for The Toast, and we're going to be talking about Star Trek Beyond. Beyond what? It's not really explained. Beyond a nebula? So right off the bat, I'm going to say I do enjoy the new Star Trek films. I think they're a fun, exciting take on the original series. Star Trek, I think, is the best one so far, definitely. Into Darkness, it's got a lot of criticism, but I still enjoyed it, and I like Benedict Cumberbatch. This third one picks up 3 years into their 5-year mission into deep space. Things are starting to get dull and a bit repetitive. Yep, sounds like Star Trek. So the Enterprise visits this eyesore of a space station. Seriously, what kind of design is that? Picks up a new mission, goes through a nebula, and promptly gets shot down. Not a spoiler, because every single trailer has highlighted that fact. So the crew of the Enterprise are now stranded on an unknown planet and have to stop Cuttlefish Man from unleashing a superweapon onto the Federation. Although why the bad guy needs a superweapon when he's got this unstoppable swarm of billions of ships is beyond me. Maybe that's why it's called Star Trek Beyond. All the cast are back in their assigned roles, and they do a fine job like normal, but it's the same old, so there's nothing really noteworthy to mention. But we do get some odd couple pairings running around like Spock and Bones, which we don't get to see enough of, and it's a lot of fun. Simon Pegg actually helped pen the script, so there's a lot more Scotty, and I'm fine with that because I really do like Scotty, and I really do like Simon Pegg, so it's a win-win for me. Kirk himself in this movie is a lot more introspective as he's trying to figure out where he fits in the big picture. Same with Spock dealing with the death of his own race. It's a very choice-making kind of reflective movie for those characters. Sophia Boutella is in this movie, although you might not recognize her under all that makeup, but you know her from playing Gazelle, and she's the mummy in the new upcoming Mummy movie. Sophia plays Jayla, a kind of cookie-cutter warrior lady that we see in a lot of movies nowadays. At first I was worried she was going to be a one-note character where she was just out for revenge because her father was killed, and she was a basic warrior woman in the forest who suddenly came to save the day. Admit it, you've seen that a lot, the warrior woman in the woods, and there's in a lot of TV shows. Anyway, after she was introduced, she kind of lightened up and was a lot more helpful, and she didn't actually want to get into the action, which I kind of liked. She wasn't all gung-ho being like, yes, we must fight. Instead, she was more like, I don't want to fight. You guys are all stupid. But I will because you gave me a speech. As an alien warrior woman goes, she still falls into the classic trope of wearing high heels in the woods. I gotta say, the makeup on her is gorgeous. I mean, she's gorgeous to begin with, and I don't know what it is, but those lines are perfect. The makeup effects are good for a lot of the creatures in this movie, actually. Some of them kind of look the same. I mean, the pink girls with big heads is the theme of this film. But they do look good, especially the shell woman at the end. I mean, I don't know if I have a picture. I'll put a picture up if I can find it. There you go. So Idris Elba as Krull. Now, I love Idris Elba, but I kind of think that he was wasted in this role. I mean, he's got a great voice and the way he acts is kind of unique, but the villain himself suffered from that lack of motivation that I always pick on. He just didn't really, without spoiling anything, you really do question his motives and why the hell is he doing anything he's doing, and why is he still on this planet, and why does he need a super weapon? He's not very ruthless, really, for a villain. He actually doesn't seem that dangerous. He looks kind of cool, though. And yes, he does have a much more interesting backstory as the movie goes on. He's like reverse gum. The more you chew him over, the more flavor you do get out of him. Now, Star Trek Beyond does emulate the original Trek series more than any other film has done, what with Federation peacekeeping, ambassadoring, Uhura flipping switches, and of course, fake rock sets. I want to pick on the sets more, but I know people who worked on this movie and I don't want to insult them. And I also kind of like that they're obviously fake sets, and it kind of does make you feel like, oh, I'm watching the old original Trek again. This is fun. Unfortunately, the movie, although fun, does suffer from those stereotypical action tropes that we get poisoned with in every summer blockbuster, such as the camera work in close combat, everything teetering on a cliff. Should have just shot the bad guy right away instead of having a conversation, and super convenient saves, shots, and subterfuge. And the transporter solves everything, except when it can't. Remember when Kirk and Scotty transported to the Enterprise while it was in warp? Remember when Khan transported from Earth to Kronos, the Klingon homeworld? Yeah. But we can't use the transporter here because, there were some rocks in the way. Also, who brings a bike along into space? Yeah, that makes sense. There's a lot of stuff that does not make sense in this movie. The plot holes are huge. I mean, when I was watching the movie, I had fun and I enjoyed it fine. But as soon as I stepped out of the theater and started thinking about it, there are a lot of huge plot holes in this movie. But the film does a good job of navigating around the plot holes just enough to keep it fun and entertaining. but not let you fall into this pit of questions. Until you get out of the movie and realize, oh, how did I miss all those holes? This movie is primarily fun. I mean, plot-wise, this movie really does drag its heels. Star Trek Beyond really does like to throw call-outs out to Trek history and lore, especially Enterprise. So if you know everything about the whole Trek universe, you're going to pick up on a lot of references. Plus, there are a lot of jokes that poke fun at the original series, and you don't really have to be a Star Trek fan to appreciate them. Star Trek Beyond was filmed in Vancouver, and because of that, there's a lot of forests and gravel pits to utilize. Unfortunately, because of the amount of shows like Stargate and whatnot that take full advantage of forests and gravel pits, Star Trek Beyond feels like a mid-grade TV show instead of a full-on feature film. Maybe I just recognize it too much, but it really does feel like half of this film you're watching an episode of Stargate SG-1. But I do love the music score, especially combined with sweeping shots of the Enterprise. The camera really does like to make love to the Enterprise, and I'm fine with that. She's a beautiful ship. You could even say I ship it. Oh, I can't believe I just said that. I should edit that out. I'm not a Trekkie, but the music and ship combos do give me tingles. But one use of music was completely crazy, and you have to see the movie to know what I'm talking about, but what? I mean, I understood what was going on, but why did everything I don't know, it's just one of these quick fix situations again. Despite my complaints, this is still a toast and jam. Jammy. It's the same ingredients you know, but it's still fun and tasty. And due to the deaths of Leonard Nimoy and Anton Yelchin, there are definitely some pull your heartstring moments. Yeah, they do pull at your heartstrings quite a bit. But there are sky jellyfish, and I should give it a win just for that. Even though it's kind of terrifying when you think about it. All in all, it was very episodic. It felt like classic Trek, yet plays out a lot like fan fiction. But with a franchise this big, anything at this point is going to feel like fan fiction, especially when the director is a Star Trek fan. But speaking of episodes, if you want to check out more episodes from this guy, click away, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers. Now, there is no stinger at the end of the credits of this movie, so don't hang around, but during the animation just after the credits roll, there is a payoff to a joke set up earlier in the movie. Now, it's only a small joke, so if you caught it, that is, then it's worth hanging around just to see that. Although it does mean sitting through the Rihanna song, you know, the one where the music video she's got no eyebrows. Is it worth it?